from just outside the perimeter of Atlanta, Georgia, where we just got embarrassed, and it feels like the players couldn't care less.
Ow. I thought this wasn't going to be the episode that we drink on.
Maybe.
Oh, we never said that you couldn't drink. I just said that I wasn't.
Maybe it should be. It looks.
I'll cheers to you in the water.
It looks like my hair has been drinking. Oh Lord! It is the 5 Takes podcast, and we are back.
We're back,
like Liverpool on
top of the table, baby.
Back on their perch, as it
back
were.
Back on our perch where we belong.
You know what? It's a nice background you got tonight. Switching things up a little bit.
You'll never walk alone, baby.
Clearly, I mean, you could hear that anthem from here.
Proud to be a Red
today.
Let's go.
So,
it was a great weekend for Reds all around too, because Wrexham got promoted.
Yeah,
true.
Which is really dope.
Very true.
Red Dragons.
Yeah, they're up now as well. That's a low-key, incredible story because, look, I know fame and fortune and pumping money into a club will only get you so far. I know this. I support Chelsea. I know all about it.
$1 billion.
We all support Atlanta. We have money. We know these things. It takes more than that, and what they've done to be able to just go back to back to back promotions and one step away. No team has ever done it.
No team has ever done it.
Put all the fame, all the Deadpool, all the money you want into it. You still got to go out and win this shit.
Yeah, still have to perform.
You got to win the games, and they did it.
And this stage in league in the EFL and League One and the Championship, they are not the richest ownership group in the division, right? Yeah. So you no longer have the spend to spend. Yeah, you really.
They are now.
They may be now, and part of that is obviously due to the global brand that they built with the show and all the other infrastructure
they're a brand
behind them. But no one in the National League is getting United as a kit sponsor.
Well, that's true.
No one in the they were paying their own sponsorships with the
TikTok
Aviation Gin and the TikTok and whatever. So that's again, I'm not saying they're very smart businessmen, but you're talking about they're not the deepest pockets anymore. And especially you come into Championship and you're going to start to they're going to have to start.
Well, it's crazy. I mean, Rob and Ryan are eventually going to be owning a Premier League team. That's billions. They're rich as is, but this is a different kind of rich.
They bought Wrexham. They bought Wrexham when it was finally agreed to by the city and the supporters group and everybody that finally agreed for $2.5 million. That's it. It's now worth over $100 million.
That's what they've been able to.
That's what they've been able to turn Wrexham FC as a club. That's what they've as a franchise. They've turned it into $100 million.
But it seems like they have maintained their culture, which is important.
I was going to say, the bigger picture in this is not, yay, look at this valuation that you're getting with the team. Look at the way that their presence and the football club and the football club's revitalization has impacted the community and the surrounding area. And it was I know they talk about it all the time, and I'm going to say some of it's manufactured, but the tourism business alone that Wrexham gets on an annual basis now as a result of that show. It's unbelievable how much opportunity and revenue it's driving into that little teeny tiny part of Wales that very, very few other people would have bothered to even notice as a blip on a train stop.
Well, it's unbelievably inspiring, and it makes me feel like football in England and in Europe is life. It is part of, it's not just part of their culture, because it is, but it's part of their everyday life. I think I first experienced really what that meant when I was watching Sunderland Till I Die, because it's very similar there. It's a total working class town up in the north.
When you say football is life, it's economically
it
too,
really
part of the town.
It
Liverpool,
drives,
Liverpool and Everton,
their life.
Everything revolves around those two clubs in that city.
Yeah.
Right. But it drives business.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If the football club is doing poorly, everything
goes
else
down.
is going poorly.
You got towns that depend on these clubs.
And it makes because Sunderland's they're getting back up there. They're about to go into the promotional playoffs for the Championship. So they have a small chance that they could get promoted, and then they finally made it back to the big show after like 7 or 8 years, after I think 8 years. But it makes me want to not let what happened to Wrexham, because you're talking about a club that 50 years ago was in the top flight. They were they were a competitive club for a really, really long time. And then due to several, circumstances, they fell into complete disarray, and they just kept falling and falling and falling. And it's just such a shame that can happen. And it makes me want to go to like any other club. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and he was like, that's like my low key dream, is like what Ryan and Rob did even before they did it, was like to go over to England and find a small club
and take them up.
And yeah, what a fucking thing to be able to do, because it drives commerce through the entire town that supports it.
And I wasn't trying to derail the whole Liverpool won the 20th their 20th Premier League title today, and they have now eclipsed Man United.
I think they tied it. They tied it. Tied it for titles.
I know that there's a lot of very upset Man United folks today because they no longer get to lord that over you guys and whatever else. I wasn't trying to steal your thunder.
No, not at all. It's fine.
I feel like we need some joy in our lives right now, and I think the type of football that they're playing at Wrexham is just, it's joyful.
Well, it was joyful for Liverpool this year too. It was the celebrations. Look, I'm a blue, I'm not a red, but I'm genuinely happy for you and other fans because you didn't get a proper celebration last time. And
that's what's the most poetic about all of it.
To see the fans to the rafters at Anfield, to see Mo Salah taking a Selly goal selfie, at the Kop end, to hear Slot come on and basically redo what Klopp did for him at the end of last year, chanting his name like Jurgen Klopp, da da da. It's just,
it's funny.
It's great.
I feel like I don't need to say anything. You're saying everything that
I know. I'm talking it up. I was genuinely moved by it because I do think you guys were robbed of something in 20, and the asterisk that came with it. Miss me with all that. You guys won it. You won more than that.
No.
And this year you've been knocked out of...
We still played all the games.
This year you got knocked out of everything else, but you won the title, and you did it in convincing fashion. Again, I mean, you're up, 13 points ahead?
We're up 15.
15?
15.
Goodness gracious. Good for you. I'm happy for you, and really looking forward to Arsenal giving you a guard of honor. Clapping you on. I love it.
We still have Arsenal left to play. We have Chelsea left to play.
I'm happy to give it to you. I just want to see Arsenal out there clapping you guys on. I know it's not a good look to take joy in someone else's, but I'm genuinely happy for that.
You get so little joy these days. I'm going to take it where I can fucking get it.
I know.
And I did. I think and Jennifer, I hate that it was against Spurs a little bit. No, I could have been against anyone.
Look,
what
Spurs.
I'm saying. We needed 1 point.
Why not?
You guys weren't. You guys were never in it. Not today, because you got to focus on Europa League.
On Europa, and I think I sent you that meme where they talked about Ange
playing the 7-year-olds.
You 7-year-olds, because none of this matters anymore. And
you have to do that though, because you still have a chance. I don't know if it's a Lloyd Christmas style telling me there's a chance, but you have a chance. You're in it to win silverware. I don't think Postecoglou is sticking around, even if you do, but that would be still monumentally successful for you. In Europa League, it's not the Conference League that Chelsea's in right now. That's a legit trophy no one can take away from you, and you're still in it. You're still in it.
And we haven't won any of the... You know what? I'm not going to poo-poo any silverware, because Lord knows behind me there's an empty trophy case, because there ain't nothing over here because I moved.
Well, and they were saying too throughout the day that it really could have been anyone that we played today. We only needed we could have ended in 0-0 draw against anyone, and it still would have won the title for us. But what they were saying was actually Tottenham was the best suited team for us to play against because of the way Tottenham plays. They play with a really high line, and they play 4 in the back, and we basically play 4 strikers. And so all we had to do was get behind, and we did that 3 times.
Yes.
And because Ange is just unwilling to waver in any way whatsoever, it played directly into our hands, and it was the perfect. Unfortunately, you guys were actually the perfect team for us to play today. Yeah, a little bit.
That's a metaphor and a segue if I ever heard one too.
Who we should thank
inflexible
next?
managers who refuse to change their ideas of tactics or move players around or deviate from any sort of specific plan to actual any kind of, I don't know, result, energy, movement, shot on goal. How we wound up with an XG of 0.5 yesterday, I will never know.
Didn't we have 0 shots on goal?
We had one. There was one save that the octopus made. Count it, sure. But splitting hairs at that point. Yeah, it's bad, guys. It's really, really, really bad. So
almost as bad as it can get.
Yeah. When we were
4-1 and 3-0,
back-to-back 3-0s.
Back-to-back.
Yeah, let's be kind.
343 minutes without an open play goal. The entire month.
I'm old enough to remember when Atlanta used to score goals.
We have not scored an open play goal in April.
No, correct.
That's what you're saying?
Correct.
Brilliant.
And now at 343 minutes without a goal, period.
Fabulous.
Look, when we were asking for the boys, to dig deep, we did not mean their own grave. And here we are. So what we thought we would do tonight, because we are still at that point where it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to go through take by take. Honestly, it was hard to write these because it was all just the same stuff.
It's just bad.
Know? And there's not a whole lot to dive into, but I did anyhow. We are going to keep this thing going, but we're going to do something different tonight, like we did last week, where we're just going to go over the many comments and interactions that we got on all our different social media channels, X, BlueSky, Facebook, Instagram, even Messenger. Got a few DMs.
Oh, and hey, thank you for reaching out.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Bummed that it's of the negative variety, but happy that we can vent in a productive way where it's not a fuck you kind of, you know what I mean? Where everybody's angry. We're here for it.
To be your couch of choice to come and lay your head down. And
what does therapy run you these days? $150 hour session? It's free, baby. We got you. We got you. All right. So we're going to start off with X based off the takes that I posted last night. And I'm just going to run through some of the comments and thoughts that people have. And we can talk about each one. And I think that's what we're going to do for the rest of the night here.
I mean, this is the thing, because we can all sit here and talk about.
We can pontificate on this all day.
The lack of tactics or why Ronnie, whatever. Right. It doesn't really matter.
And some of that came up, and we'll talk about that. There were a few people who pointed out exactly what you're talking about with Ronnie and the rigidity and the baffling decisions that he's made, but also some other things and players not performing up to the level, which is also true. You know, it's not one or the other. I don't think. So starting off on X here with Atlanta United at Atlanta United VIPs. This one's brutal. Atlanta United was fathered by Orlando. It is true. It used to be the other way around. Was everybody here old enough to remember when they were just this annoying little, like we tried to have a rivalry with them, but in order to be a rivalry, you kind of got to beat us at some point. I long for the days of
5.5, what is it, 6 seasons they couldn't beat us?
I long for the days of Joseph laughing at the TV, eating chicken.
Yes.
Amazing. Those days are so gone. Spreadsheet Jockey posted at us here with just a sign that says, "In Rob we trust." We'll get to some of that. No, Rob isn't the cure-all, but there are some people out there who feel like it might be worth picking up the phone if he'll even answer, and we can talk about people's feelings about that. They are strong, shocking, that people have about it. Andrew, ATL 20 at Andrew ATL 23. Dyla is clearly not the guy, and Moranchuk has to go. Play the fucking kids for all I care. None of these losers want to win. Thoughts?
No, Kat, you can go first since you're on top of the table.
Heavy is the crown. Heavy is the crown.
You're the award-winning, Emmy award-winning, trophy-hoisting person in the room. I think
here comes the Emmy.
There it is. There it is.
Wait. Let's get 2 hands on it. 2 hands on the trophy. 2 hands on it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So thoughts on
that? I love that for me. Okay.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yes to all of that.
Playing the kids.
Time for Dyla to go. Moranchuk's got to go. He is not the guy.
It's gonna be a buyout.
Yeah, it probably would be, but I don't. Money's not the problem. Doesn't seem to be. So, okay. And play the kids. If the people that are getting paid the big bucks are going to continue to show up and just play like ass, then play the kids. I'm going to quote Family Guy. It's like, let's go to Ollie with the team report. It's bad. It's like that's it. It's bad, yeah. It's just fucking bad.
That is it. You're right.
I turned it off at halftime because I would rather, if I'm going to go get my ass kicked, I'd rather have my kids do it. So I just was like, I'm going to go spend time with my family because they bring me joy instead of watching a train wreck. Huh? So I was, I turned it off at 2-0. Was not surprised to see that they'd gotten a third.
I hear you. I mean,
I don't think that we got fathered by Orlando. I don't think we got owned by Orlando any more than we got owned by Philadelphia or any other fucking team right now.
You have to actually show up to be
we're target practice.
Yeah, for sure. Practice. And like I said last week, I will be surprised if we win another game.
Gosh. All right.
Okay. And what I mean by that is, like I said, I now, like I did last summer, I have zero expectations of anything good. So anything good that does happen, happy bonus.
Yep.
But if there isn't, at least it doesn't fucking hurt as much.
Yeah, I was watching in the 5-stripe room last night.
And now I've got no more English.
I got my little sunroom built onto the house where I've got all my scarves and all the memorabilia hanging up, big TV out there. And wife's parents were in town for the weekend, and I didn't want to subject them to this pain and misery. So they were in the living room with wife, Lily, watching Conclave, which feels appropriate for the times right now. Excuse Kat, she's still coming over a nasty cold, and it's why she couldn't be with us on the Decatur FC pod. But so they're watching Conclave. It's a better time. I hear it's really good. And they hear me just cursing up a storm in the room. And then game's over. I walk into the room, and my hair looks something like that.
Good. Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
And they just look at...
Just give me a chance, coach.
They just look at me and they go, God, was it that bad? Yeah.
Yes.
It was that bad.
It wasn't 5-1 Liverpool over Tottenham bad.
Insufferable.
Y'all are just...
All right, that's the last one.
No, look, I think playing kids, I'm fine with. I'm pretty sure Alexi is going to be gone unless Dyla turns things around here and starts playing him where he think he's better, but probably still not at the level. You know what I mean? So it's a harsh way to say all of that, but I'm not outright disagreeing with them. You know what I'm saying? Well, so I agree with the sentiment, I think, being expressed there. In general.
It just feels clear. It just feels clear that neither Alexi nor Dyla are fitting.
Yeah.
Alexi.
Well, they fit each other. Dyla thinks Alexi is the best player on the team.
I know. He thinks he's, So they can both go somewhere else and be together. Alexi and Ronnie.
Okay, moving on.
Wow. So I'm gonna be full disclosure. I did not watch a whole hell of a lot of that match, and I did not bother to rewatch a whole hell of a lot of that match because
wasn't worth it. Yeah. What were you doing instead?
Well, I was cooking recipes and entertaining a group of friends from the movie Like Water for Chocolate.
That sounds so much better than the way we played.
It actually was, and we drank a lot of tequila and a lot of other things. And
love that for you.
Ate some great food that I cooked, and I had a bunch of friends help me cook, and my daughter came up with brilliant bougie cocktail pairings for it. And we had the game on in the background.
Was there a special occasion that you did this for?
I mean, it was
it
was my birthday this past week.
That's
and
what
only
it was.
your birthday.
Happy birthday,
only your birthday.
Jennifer.
Nobody else's.
You know who else's birthday it was?
No idea. Mike.
It wasn't mine.
Mike.
No, it wasn't yours. But
Mike from FanTV.
Fabulous twist of irony. Glenn and I happened to share a birthday.
Yes.
The only difference is I'm an OG Star Wars baby, and he's a Return of the Jedi.
I am
baby.
Yeah, 83.
Sure.
83.
Yeah,
me too. 83. Yeah. Thank you very much.
So, I mean, that's the only difference is the entire Star Wars trilogy. So anyway, yes, I was celebrating my birthday. We had the game on in the background, and we all kind of stopped when they had the VAR and the penalty and whatever. And then when that didn't go our way, because none of us were really we were just
whatever.
You know what's really interesting about that was fucking Schleish's reaction to it, like the dude had dived, and I was like, no, dude, you fouled him.
Yeah, it's a foul.
That was a legitimate foul. Like,
so here's the thing, though, and then I'm
fucking uppity about it. I'm like, no, you fucked up, dude.
I don't want to talk about reffing, but I did listen to the post game on this and whatever, and I do agree with Jason's take and with Maddie's take that if it takes you 3 minutes to evaluate VAR and come to a decision, there's nothing about that that's clear and obvious that would require you to
agreed. It happens a lot. It's re-refereeing.
On the and I think if that is the way the law of the game is written, saying clear and obvious, right? If it takes you more than 30 seconds to look at it, there's nothing clear and obvious about it.
I wish they would tell them that. I wish they would say this in pro.
It's either you missed it or you didn't. But if it's not glaring that you missed something, it shouldn't take you that long to look at it and figure it out.
Agreed.
And I don't think it would have changed the result.
No. I don't think it would have changed the result. And I'm not going to sit here and make excuses I want to see this change for the better of the game, because we are certainly, we've had some shitty fucking calls, but we are certainly not the only club that have had to deal with inconsistencies in the way the laws of the game are interpreted.
100%.
And it would make for a better, more watchable product if you don't have 3.5 minute stoppages where, referees don't want to feel like, if I do this, it's going to get overturned or somebody's going to throw it out or whatever, or I won't get assignments, blah, blah, blah. Pick a reason why a ref doesn't want to bow to VAR.
Yeah.
So I just,
Well, I don't disagree with you. I don't know what constitutes a handball anymore in Premier League or MLS. Because I know what it used to be. I know what a handball is. I know what the rule states. But I saw one today in a different match where, yes, he was turning, but when he did this, he turned away from the ball. His arm was like this. It hit his hand, which then redirected the ball away from goal. No handball.
Wow.
I don't understand what a handball is anymore.
There's just a lot of inconsistencies across the board.
And that's what I'm saying, is that
going back to the actual
whatever it is,
the discussion here, I don't know that I'm so much Alexi out. I don't even know that I'm so much Ronnie out. I'm more Garth out at this point.
Ooh, okay.
And there's a few
going all the way up the ladder.
There's others that feel that way too. Just so you know.
Look, I will say this because Ronnie's been here for 4 months, 3 months, whatever. We have seen Alexi be successful for this club used in different roles than trying to force him at the 10.
Yes. But that's Ronnie, not Garth.
With the way that our team is designed as
I think that's what she's saying, is that Ronnie has tried to utilize him the right way.
Once.
Ronnie, well, there's been a couple of instances where he dropped him back to the 8, which is where he's been better for us. Moved Miggy central, and then somehow magically when you put Saba on the right, things seem to happen a little bit better.
More of that. That's all.
I don't understand why, if you've now had at least 3 matches where that's happened, you've seen success results and I don't know, goals in the net, and it hasn't taken 343 minutes to score a goddamn goal. I don't know why you wouldn't do that.
No, that's people's question with
but
Tyler.
From where I sit, Garth has had 3.5 seasons. Garth has now had 3 managers. Garth has had 2 full roster turnovers.
Yeah.
And we are not doing anything different or better or even moving in a direction that has any positive hope. This is, we can't keep lather, rinse, repeating this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what else you do.
Neither does anybody else, apparently. No. I mean, we all have like opinions. We all have thoughts. But
Homer's opinion on X at 110M32 says that if Ronnie doesn't make massive changes to the lineup, then you question him. He was too late to make subs. Also, this is still Pineda ball, he feels. Like, what is even his system? Why are we still doing the horseshoe of death? I hope fans cancel their season tickets. This team doesn't deserve it.
That's probably going to happen in droves.
I mean,
even more than last year.
I hate when people call for, and I understand it. I'm not trying to say you're not justified.
He's looking for a message from the fans. I understand.
Yeah, I get this, and none of us are happy, and none of this is good. But the thing that we need more than anything else to get us through these dark days is our community. So when you encourage people to break up with that community, I don't know that it necessarily serves you well.
Right.
And, friend of the pod and friend of Atlanta United TV, FanTV, Nick, made a post on his Facebook page earlier today about being rightfully so upset about the state of the team. And also rightfully so worried about people not showing up and losing the community that we've worked really hard to build from the fan perspective.
Right.
It's not, yes, we're here for the soccer team, but we all know, and we've talked about it numerous times, that it isn't just about soccer.
Right.
So, I think we need to continue to find ways to find the little things, do the little things that bring us joy in our community, because Lord knows we're not going to get our joy from on the pitch right now.
And who are we hurting?
Well,
really,
let me give you a perspective, like from someone like me right now, because I watch every single match. I said I turned this one off at halftime, but for obvious reasons.
You didn't go get a milkshake?
Yeah, exactly. Sparrow had a chocolate milkshake today. She loved it from Johnny Rockets downtown. So here's the thing, though. I 17 and 18, I was almost at every single match. And we know since then, because I've got, 2 young kids, it's been more difficult for me to get to matches. Everyone knows this. So nowadays, because we're trash, it makes it harder for me to say, okay, what games am I going to go to? I'm going to take my hard-earned money and my well-deserved time, either with my child, who I am now going to be bringing to matches, or away from my family, to go and watch garbage. To watch them play like fucking garbage, because they're not because they're doing what they're doing out there on the pitch. They're not respecting the community that we've built for them either. So it makes it very difficult for me to make that decision of, do I want to go? Do I want to spend the money?
Yeah.
Do I want to, even though it's not that much, I know that compared to,
but I hear you. It's time. It's like, do I want to be a part of I get you 100%.
I'd rather sit at home with the TV on, where I can say, oh, it's 3-0 in the first half.
Yeah.
Good night.
I hear you.
So I think that's really the problem when it gets to be this boring, right? Like, I would be okay. Like, I can watch, it's no fun. It's not as much fun to watch the team lose, but I would just like to be a little bit entertained. And right now, there's nothing entertaining about anything that's going on from our end. Yeah. Literally, we are Prometheus and we are bound to a giant rock, and every team in MLS is coming and feasting on our liver every day.
That's a hell of a
reference.
Overnight,
and then every week in training, it grows back. And by the following Saturday or Sunday, another team from MLS is going to come and rip it out of our sides.
Nashville.
Well, and the other thing I'm getting a little tired of, all the, and I know this is marketing, but I'm getting tired of the fucking hype videos and the hype pictures that they keep putting on there. Like the banner of like, like the one that I saw today was playing for grit and glory. I'm like, well, there ain't not a whole lot of fucking grit and there certainly isn't any fucking glory. The fuck are you talking about? They need to have a little humility right now. Someone needs to tell the marketing team that they're going down the wrong road because everybody can see through their bullshit right now.
Unfortunately, and some of it
different tactics, guys.
Some of it is obligations that they have to do, and I don't want to go off on the socials, but they could be a little bit more tactful. Like a post they put out yesterday was, before the game started, we have a score to settle. We have a score to settle in there.
Right.
And I retweeted, well,
I think we settled it.
I would have settled for us scoring. But,
there you go.
Yeah. FTC UTD on X reinforces take number 4. And like I said, we're not going to go through the takes, but I'll read out what number 4 is. But he thinks, number 4, or she, I'm sorry, I don't know. But seriously, number 1 is a high key a problem too. I can't even imagine who actually hangs out together, Cleek, Sleesh, and Saba, maybe. So number 1 on the takes was a brutal quote from Mr. Brad Guzan. The things we do outside the pitch are the things we do outside the pitch. That was Goose's answer to Doug Robertson's softball harmless question about camaraderie and the kinds of things the players do together outside of training in the games. And clearly it's nothing. So R.I.P. La Banda. And number 4 was Ronnie refusing to play Miggy centrally and putting Saba on the right. He insists that Alexi is a creative playmaking 10, best player on the team, and refuses to start a more attack-minded midfielder like Jay Fortune, and instead plays Cleek and Barto side by side, essentially the same player. Ronnie has been as much a problem as the performance of the players has been. And he just, this person is reinforcing that point of view.
Yeah, none of that is wrong.
Super Glue on X said that he would have settled for at least getting a look at their goal. Gosh. I mean, nothing. Just nothing. Mixtape 615 sends their regards. They'll see us next weekend. So, Nashville put a whooping on Chicago. I'm willing to
bet Lightning doesn't strike twice with
Probably not. I mean, 7 goals. They're in free burrito territory. That's crazy. That reminds us New England, the New England match we had years ago.
That's right. And they did get a little sloppy and they got 2 back, So you take some of those, you take away Surridge's 4 goals and it's 3-2, which is far less that guy just had the
can't take away Surge's goals, and Nashville's having a great run of form. And
of course, I wouldn't do that.
You know what? If it's not going to be us, there are people I would not rather it be than them. Lord knows they've had to sit through. They've had to sit through how many years of, pray for the 1-0 win. How many years, since their inception with Gary Smith and whatever. It's good for them. I'm glad they're getting a reason to celebrate. And they're good people up there.
Well, and that's, if anything,
much worse people. So, at least it's not fucking Charlotte.
That's all I was going to say too, is at the very minimum, we know people personally that we adore. And those guys are good guys, and those guys are Nashville fans. Yeah. So good for them.
God, Homer on X.
Wait. Can I drop in with a couple of fun stats from Doug?
Sure. Yeah, go for it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is the first time in franchise history that the team has been beaten by at least 3 goals in consecutive matches.
Nice. Sure. And I love breaking records.
I'm gonna pose this question to you in the framework of the commentary. Sure. Ronnie Dyla has said that he thinks Atlanta United has hit bottom. Do you think we've hit rock bottom yet?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
What would rock bottom look like?
Don't know. We're not there yet.
We've lost 2 matches in a row, 3-0. We failed to register a shot on goal, according to MLS stats.
What if we did that? What if we do that again, but at home? That might be rock bottom.
Oof. We didn't score a goal from open play in the entire month of April.
But
right?
I
don't know if it's rock bottom. It feels hard. So we're close to it.
The surface is pretty hard.
Look, you got people like Homer on X saying that Atlanta has become my soccer Ozempic.
Wow. There you go.
It's
straight up depression.
So it might be rock bottom. It sounds like very much is for Homer.
That's just all I'm saying is where do we go from here that's worse? Red cards just constantly? Injuries?
I vote that as long as Dyla's here, that until we actually win a home match, he has to manage in his boxers.
Hey,
fuck,
at least that'll give us something to watch.
Dude, I'd settle for a fucking suit.
Let me pose something to you from ATL UTD 711 at Mark D. Bertram on X.
Okay.
Thinks number 4 hits the nail on the head. Thank you. Put Miggy in the middle, and everything else falls into place.
You'd think.
I don't think it's... Yes, do that, for sure.
Yes.
But I don't think it's that simple. He feels Miggy being out of his best position means Saba is out of his best position. And Miranchuk is better as the 8 than the 10, clearly.
Yep.
So that's 3 out of position because Miggy is not in the middle. Miggy in the middle fixes our attack and midfield. Our first choice back line is better than average for MLS. Just need them healthy. I don't disagree, but I don't think it's also so simple as, oh, okay, we good. Like, I still think all those are real, for sure. Do it. Yep, problems, for sure. But I think we've got deeper fundamental who are we issues as well.
Obvious.
As well.
Yeah.
I think it is a step in the right direction, and you would certainly get some on-field results, but really what this team needs to do isn't even so much fix what's going on the pitch. They got to fix what's going on off the pitch. They have got to. Somebody has to make a high level. Somebody, and this is one of the reasons why I want Garth out, because I don't think it. The difference between Garth and Darren, and you may or may not have agreed with Darren's player selection and how he went after, his vision of roster construction. But what Darren's job was here was to build a foundation of an identity, and he did that the first 3 years of this club.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, Garth has contributed absolutely nothing from a vision standpoint to continuing to either build on the foundation that Darren has created or move us into a different ideology construction, right? Again, this is where it's too many numbers and it's too many stats, and there's no heart and soul behind any of that. Who we are asking almost a decade into this, who is this club and what do they stand for?
That's fair.
Nobody can tell you what the 5 pillars
and actually, Darren built this over more than 3 years, just founding the club, 15, 16.
Yeah,
he spent,
2015,
5 years.
So, but and he spent, he talked to a lot of people. What do you want? What is it, what does it look like for you?
And that's all been discarded, and we haven't built anything new. Yeah, that's fair.
When he left here, his biggest regret when he left here was that we never found a song. He wanted that really bad. He wanted us to have like some sort of, supporter anthem, the way that Minnesota does Wonderwall, or the way that Liverpool, You'll Never Walk Alone, or whatever. Like, he felt like having something like that. And of course, here we are. Nobody could agree. Everybody had ideas, but nobody could agree.
There's a few more clubs in MLS. I think Crew, whether they got Falling in Love with Crew.
Something like, there's a bunch of them out there, but that was one of the things that he wanted to get established that never happened. But I just, in thinking about all of this, like, where is it? Where did we go?
That's interesting.
Yeah, and less than a decade into a club, we shouldn't be wondering about our identity when we won fucking shit.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
And and to reference that again, I said, something I had said last week was everything that we used to have is dead, right? Everything. I didn't say dead. I said gone. But what I'm referencing actually is Miggy, and it makes me wonder. I'm like, Ronnie, did you watch any of the fucking tapes about where Miggy played before? Have you?
I don't think so, because he's asked
where Miggy played the last time.
He's asked a number of times. A 10. Well, when did he play 10? Oh boy. And that's what I'm saying. Did you only see him either in Portugal or in Newcastle, where he played on the right? But Paraguay. Sorry, misspoke entirely. But that just makes, I'm like, what do you mean? I still am baffled. I'm like, didn't we hire Miggy to be the 10? Isn't that what we brought him back for?
No. I actually don't think we brought Miggy in to be the 10. I think we brought Miggy in to be the right wing. It didn't work. And now you have two very expensive 10s, and what are you going to do with them? Well,
fair.
Okay. You know, like that was the whole idea. It was supposed to be because Saba last year was, you know, better on the right, but serviceable on the left. And then you were going to have some options on the left with Jande, who is gone, and Mosquera as a late, you know, as a late speedster type of sub. You know, and you know, Miggy just hasn't fit in MLS wise, and it may be, you know, there's a number of different things, but like, you know, he didn't play badly at the wing at Newcastle. I still think he was always better as a 10. But he's not a Prem level 10.
Yeah.
Right. He was a Prem level.
He's the most bewildering signing we've made. He didn't
I was under the impression the entire time that when we brought him back, it was for 10. That's what I assumed. I don't think so. Maybe it was because that's the role that he filled for us before. And that, to me, Alexi's presence notwithstanding, to me felt like what we were lacking. So the other thing about that 10 spot that I also expected from Miggy that I didn't get, that we haven't gotten either, is that leadership role
big time.
That I really expected him to fill.
Big time.
That hasn't happened with Alexi either. That is
I feel like
gaping hole in the middle of our pitch is a leader.
Yeah.
And I feel like Miggy isn't getting into that role because Miggy hasn't settled himself on the pitch.
Sure.
If he can't handle his primary responsibility,
which
is to, you know,
but he doesn't know where he's supposed to play that from yet.
Like, how can he do that and then all of a sudden lead this team out of the darkness and into the light?
Right.
So could we
say too then that one of Ronnie's biggest missteps, of which there are many, has been completely misusing Miggy?
Well, I think he hasn't done a good job of assessing where we're at right now. Like Jen was saying, the plan was, okay, well, the plan has changed. And I realize it's not the easiest puzzle to solve, but to keep on jamming the piece in that clearly doesn't fit is not going to make this thing come together. Right?
Yeah.
So, moving over to BlueSky. Who is this? Morning Dawn. Thank you. By the way, for all of these on all the platforms, but for Morning Dawn on BlueSky, worries that firing Dyla, if we do that, will just let players off the hook. That's an interesting take. I hadn't really given thought to like, oh, cool. So I'm not being held to account. It wasn't me. It wasn't full on Shaggy. You know, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
And that goes back to why I vibe with keeping Dyla on, because I said earlier in our group text, this is a player issue. I don't think this is a coaching issue. This is strictly on the players.
Okay. And and the other thing, an argument could be made to, what's the going, this is to quote, Little Big League, I think.
Oh boy, deep cut.
I think so. It's what's the going rate for a first-rate pitcher who can't throw strikes? And what I'm getting at with that is what's the going rate for Ronnie Dyla if he just gets fucking fired? So by keeping him here, we're forcing him to get better. We're forcing him to be a better coach. We're forcing him to make the players perform. If he stays, we're forcing him to do his job.
Okay.
So it's an interesting case. You're saying, okay, you want to stay because we gave you the job. We gave you a job to do. Fine. Then fucking do it. We're not going to let you off the hook either.
All right.
So if he stays, he forces the players to do their job.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about it in quite that way. That's interesting. Patrick, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I just still feel like this is more of a player mentality issue and not necessarily something that like the management, the general management, the coaching staff can get in, can really get in and, can get into.
It's on everybody.
And I don't know if you want to get to the comments about Rob coming back and things
like that.
Oh,
for sure. We're going to get to him. A couple more.
But I'm going to table this, but there's reasons where,
I got
you. Again, I feel so much of this is player mentality. Players don't want to work together. There's all sorts of things that you can see visibly manifesting themselves on the pitch. Ultimately the manager can set up whatever they want, but he does not go out on that field and try to put the ball in the net.
True.
Patrick's
and
go ahead. Sorry.
There's 11 of them. Yeah.
No, I hear you.
Instead of just one.
I'm
just saying there's 11 players to blame as opposed to just one coach.
And a coach is tough.
So I get that.
And it's usually the first position to go because how transfer windows and things work.
Right.
Patrick Sullivan, ATL Soccer Past on BlueSky. Thinks there's deeper rot that needs cleaning. You know, it won't be cleaned up with just removing the coach, and that's fair. Jay Rife on BlueSky. If I were Ronnie and I really thought it wasn't on me, I'd bench all the starters in the next match, call up as many twos as I'm allowed to. We'll lose, but at least we'll see who gives a fuck. Okay. Well, there's severe restrictions on that as far as the twos, but I hear the sentiment of play the kids, right? And let's see. Garth, this is from also from Morning Dawn. Garth is right that the top four, or placing top four, should be the goal, not just sneaking into the playoffs again. They're nearly already out of contention for top four. Feels like that. So he doesn't see the point in firing Dyla until you have a replacement ready, which we don't know. We don't know those conversations that are happening at the club. I'm sure there is some sort of contingency planning. There probably was from the jump. They probably troubleshooted this and said, hey, if the best thing happens, what are we doing? If the worst thing happens, what are we doing, right? But I would fully agree that I would not want to sack a coach if we didn't have something already lined up. And those calls are probably at least softly happening. I would think you would have to be exploring that right now. And we don't know what that's going to, if and who that's going to be. Like, they're going to play that as close to the vest as possible. So, you want to move over to the Footy Mob thread? Facebook? All right.
Sure.
Start off with Scott Danielson. Thinks the only solution is to institute relegation, follow the path of USL. It is an interesting point. Like, does that create pressure? Does that change things if there's more at stake? What do you think?
It will be very interesting if this USL championship or the USL Super League men, whatever they're going to call it, comes into fruition, because their whole platform is based on promotion relegation. Now, obviously, it will take them years to build that whole infrastructure out, but I definitely, there's a lot of reasons why promotion relegation, you can still have it with regards to having playoffs and things like that, but why there would be a benefit in owners to stay out, and it makes the basement side of the table interesting. Right. If we were in a pro rel league, we would all be having panic attacks right now about getting relegated or being in the relegation zone. And what the hell are you going to do? Because, and it also puts pressure on ownership and management and whatever to stay out of those zones, because obviously you've got different financial benefits to moving up into better performing leagues and, premier leagues that generate more funds and revenue. So the advance, again, there's a lot of there's a lot of interest creation that having that type of structure does. That being said, I'm just going to leave it at thank God we don't have that in MLS, because
yeah,
that's not the kind of season I want to watch.
Hey, let's get into the should we call Rob discussion. And let's let Mr. Jack Purdy kick this off. We will have Jack Stat Attack back on here at some point when there's useful stats to talk about again, when stats matter. Oh, I long for the days when stats mattered. So he feels if we go back for Rob, we will have learned nothing. He thinks there's a lot to go over here, but to break it down to a few bullet points, I won't go over all of them, but to try to sum things up that he's saying on this thread. Rob technically raises the floor now, but feels long term it's not going to be enough, and that's fair.
Sure.
So as far as what we do now, he feels like calling him now and calling him back. It's like ringing up an ex when you've already broke up with them and looking for the rebound. You have to keep trying things, anything. Tanking, can't do that in MLS. We're not going to get a better draft pick or anything. So that leaves you with cutting or trading personnel. And personally, I'd go find glue guys who actually make a locker room click. Rarely does a team back into success with a team that doesn't enjoy each other as human beings. And we aren't skilled enough to just show up and play. They got to do the work to trust each other and know they're going to be playing for more than just a paycheck. That is Mr. Stat Attack's thoughts on the Call Rob conversation.
I 100% agree with him that we need to spend time and resources finding glue guys. We have none of that. I've said that the last couple of pods that I 100% agree with it. We have no guy. They talk about grit and glory and guts and all these ads and whatever. We have none of it.
None.
We have,
None.
finesse
Yes.
and fancy stepping and ticky-tacky passing that goes to nowhere, and we've got no one willing to actually throw some elbows.
Right.
Yeah.
And, bleed for this team.
No one.
No one.
Well,
other than the kids.
Noah Cobb was bodying a couple guys last night. Like, the kids.
He got a lot. He got a lot of credit from the commentators, and too. And remember, they have no ties. They have no ties to Atlanta United. They are bought and paid for by Apple TV. So for them to call out Noah Cobb specifically, I think he was probably the low-key man of the match for those two guys at several different points. They kept saying, I'm really impressed with Noah Cobb and the way he comes out there and bosses on the ball and everything. I'm like, okay, I'll take a positive. That's a good one.
The other thing that I'm baffled by, and this kind of circles around to the same thing with the kids, but I am baffled by why you would play Jay Fortune at left wing. And so is Dax.
Yes, Dax was.
Understand it. Dax put out a tweet what the hell are you doing?
Because he is throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks, and
but he won't move Moranchuk back to the fucking 8.
Evidently not.
But he'll play Jay Fortune.
Like you said, he thinks he's the best player on the pitch.
But he'll play Jay Fortune on the wing. You know what? I would love to see at Nashville. Goose at striker. Do it. I dare you. I dare you. I dare you. Hey, what do you think about this from Lynn on Footy Mob as well? 2 points from her.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Lynn. Thank you. Love you.
For everything that you do, Lynn, you're the best.
For everything at the tailgates and for the drinks and everything. Vibes. All of it. And for your comment. She thinks, if she were Rob and Atlanta United came calling, she'd tell them to go fuck themselves.
I can't say that I would blame Rob.
But look, she does bring up another interesting point in defense of Ronnie, and if he had a different tact and approach. Okay. So let me run this by you. She thinks if Ronnie would say something to the effect of, I'm trying players in different positions because I have this vision or that vision, or admit that what he's trying to do isn't working. He's going to try another approach. Yeah. That supporters would be willing to give him a little longer leash, a little more grace, a little more understanding, but none of that is happening, so he's not getting that.
Yeah, he's not communicating any
But if he was saying things to that effect, does that change anything for you, or do you feel the exact same way?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
It does, because at least it articulates something.
Okay.
I think that at least we can say, all right, man, you've been trying shit. You've been trying stuff. You've been moving people around for 6 months and it's not working.
Okay.
But at least then we would know that is the plan. Right now we're like, is there a plan? Do you have concepts of a plan?
It's a fair question.
Isn't it?
It is.
Well,
if he was communicating, so to answer that question, if he was communicating, he doesn't know what's going to work. He doesn't know why it's not working, but he's going to keep trying. If that was his communique to us, I would give him more time.
Okay.
Because I agree with Jennifer that it's on the players, because then we know he's trying and the players aren't.
How about
he's trying?
How about a little?
I think.
Go ahead.
Just in terms of what you're saying, just to build on that a little bit here, I think the problem is we're all feeling like there has to be some messaging sent to the players, and we're not seeing that coming out from him, right? If you're going to play Jay Fortune at left wing, because
we want to know why.
Yeah, give it, not just because it's not working or whatever, but are you trying to send a message to, were you sent, is there a reason Jandé's not on this team anymore? Why is he out of?
Would love to know more on that. He was on the bench for St. Louis tonight, did not make an appearance. They got a 2-2 draw at LAFC. Pretty good for St. Louis. We'll see how he gets on there.
And hey, by the way, Jandé, I'm sure you don't listen to this and you never bothered,
you don't know.
But We had a hell of a time with you. I got to be on the pitch with him for supporters training day what was it, last year or a year before? I can't remember. Anyway, he was hilarious. Like mic him up all the time because he was comedy gold.
Vibes
and he
guy.
was just a generally
great
guy.
And I still loved the Spider-Man for his kids when he scored that goal. You know, I'm sorry that the league fined you for that. I think it's wrong. If you hear this, man, I love that you did that for your kid. I think that was great.
He did get hit immediately then with the Venom mask at Columbus on the very next match, and that was tough. But yeah, that was a fun moment, and he was a fun guy, and I really did enjoy his mic'd up. Like he is comedy gold, and he is a vibes guy, and interesting to see how he gets on.
A little bit more transparency from Dyla.
We needed was to lose anybody who was actually a vibes guy.
Yeah. So more transparency and the communication from Dyla as to what is going on.
Right.
And you know what? And even if he got up there and he just said, you know what? Nothing's working right now. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop trying. I am going to keep pushing until we can figure out how to make it work. Even if he went up there and just completely ate crow and just was like, okay, it's not working.
Okay.
What I'm trying isn't working, but I'm not going to stop because I believe in this club and I believe in these players and I think we can find something that works. And I'm not going to give up. If you stick with me, I'm sticking here. If he did anything along those lines, he would get more favor. He really would. You would gain faith of even just a small amount.
Okay. No, I think that's reasonable, fair. I don't know if it changes things. I think I would feel a little differently too.
I think it changes a little bit
might
of
still I might still arrive at the conclusion that he needs to go, but I wouldn't be so.
But I do think it's a good message to the players too. That if he's giving that same message to fans and he's able to convince fans and supporters of that, then I think the players might be helped to feel that too.
Yeah, it's messaging, it's vibes, and that's
we can never know. We can never know what goes on in the locker room. We just have to.
That's the case that some are making or feeling about wanting to pick up that phone and call Rob because he was that guy. But there are those that push back against it. Capo extraordinaire Miss Angel Whitworth is staunchly against it. And feels that this is more feelings than over facts. Fair. Mm-hmm. She says, look, we had Rob for half of the season last year, right?
Right.
We only made the playoffs because of math and miracles, not because Rob came in and saved the day.
True.
Half and half. I mean, he got us in the position to be able to have a miracle happen, and it did. He was able to inspire the team through the playoffs, which was great. I wish he was here in some capacity for at least familiarity. I agree. But we had nothing to lose at that point. We had 4 good games, and those were the playoffs. Maybe with a couple more years of head coaching experience. Maybe. She's not sure that Ronnie is the guy, but we need someone with experience, vision, and someone that is open to make changes when stuff isn't working. And I think that's why she is not sure that Ronnie is the guy, because of those last couple of things that she's mentioning about open to making changes when stuff isn't working, or at least do what you're talking about of coming to the microphone and saying, I'm throwing stuff here, man. I don't know. I'm trying this over here and trying that over there, and I'm willing to try. Yeah. Neither of those things are happening. So
Angel makes a really good point. And look, I was all about the Rob vibes. I bought everything FEA. I have FEA earrings. I have, whatever. Yeah. I loved that whole thing, and I'm here for way more things like that. But Angel's point is really, really valid in that it is more difficult to not make the playoffs than it is to make the playoffs in MLS. And if you guys go back and you remember what the stretch drive was like, we weren't winning the matches that we had to win. We were squeaking by with draws and whatever. And it came down to math. We had to win the last match of the season and had to have 3 other things fall into place for us to even get to the play-in game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it ain't like it was all, sunshine and roses and smacking the shit out of Miami in 3 matches. And and again, this is coming from somebody, I like Rob's vibes. I loved his openness. He was fearless about calling people out and holding people accountable. And that maybe is a little bit of an identity that we're missing, is there is no accountability anymore. Like, we don't know, that's why we're all baffled. We have no idea where all the blame is to, we need, maybe we don't need that. Maybe this is a humanity thing where we always have to have people to point fingers at, and we have no one here. So it's frustrating the hell out of all of us.
All right.
But
valid point. Let's get to one more comment and wrap it up. Cat's dying. And we don't.
Fair.
From Soul Runner on Instagram, and thank you, Soul Runner, for you comment a bunch, and we really appreciate that. But this one on Insta says that in general, over all of the takes, it's not good. He's normally a give the manager a chance guy, but it's clear to me that either the team doesn't want to play for Ronnie, or Ronnie doesn't know what to do with them. We've had moments this season, right, but those seem to be the exception, not the norm. And that trading Jande was a head-scratching move on top of everything else. I'll never give up on this team, but right now we are lost. And unless something major happens, I don't see us finding our way out of it anytime soon.
Yeah. So it's... I don't want to say that we're all saying the same thing, but I do think that we're kind of
saying the same thing.
I
know.
A lot. What it just means is that a lot of people are feeling a lot of the same things, and we're all feeling it together.
It's brought us together.
There's your community, Jennifer. We're all communing together in the shit that is this team right now.
All right.
So.
All right.
I would like to close with a comment from friend of the pod, Amy.
Okay.
Because we were having a little group, a little group chat early today.
Sure.
She was rewatching because she was kind of drinking a lot with us yesterday.
What does Fun Time Amy say?
Yeah, Fun Time Amy says, first and foremost, if we're going to destroy people, we have to at least watch, suffer, and then let the suffering out.
Okay.
But then she said the third goal from the Orlando match is a full-on Mortal Kombat goal. Like, I can hear Scorpion saying, "Get over here," and literally ripping somebody's spine out and setting them on fire.
Yeah.
And it just right. All of this is exceedingly brutal, and she also doesn't think that we've hit rock bottom, because it seems to her like they keep finding ways to build another trap door to a basement we didn't know existed. But hey,
Jennifer, can I ask you a question first?
Ask me all the questions that you want.
Did you just do a Mortal Kombat spine reference to attempt to segue us into Mason Mill?
Maybe.
This is where we're at.
We all know that Jennifer doesn't do these things on purpose.
This is where we're at.
Why do you hate me?
This is where we're at with this team, with this pod. Here we are. All right. Thank you, Mason Mill. We love you guys.
But a team that will never let you down.
Never let you down. Take very good care of you.
They'll never let you walk alone.
Yes.
No, never. But they will help you walk if you're having trouble with that.
They won't set you on fire either.
They won't do that either.
Or turn into a giant scorpion and poke you to death.
Off the rails.
Sure.
Give them a call. 404-321-0082. Find them on the web. MasonMillCairo.com. Conveniently located, as conveniently a place can be located, in Decatur, Georgia, off McConnell Mill Drive, next to Mason Mill Park. A lovely walking area, by the way, if you want to just tour around for a bit. Really nice trails back there if you get a chance after you get adjusted. They'll take very good care of you. Dr. Cohen and Dr. Miner are phenomenal. And actually, I think we've lost a team member. Not lost, they're alive. But Ashley at the front desk had to step aside for some family reasons. I don't know anything more than that, but wish her well in whatever she's needing to deal with. She's as sweet as a woman can be. So I think there's some other people in the office now. Rachel, I believe, is still there to answer your calls, book your appointments. Everything's fine. You're still going to get everything set up and taken care of. But we will miss Ashley as vital a member of the team as possible. And hopefully, I hope if she's listening to this, if you're not, everything is okay and we see her again at the practice, because it is a family over there. And we don't like seeing our family members leave or get traded to St. Louis. It's tough. It's tough. It's really, really tough. All right, y'all. Thank you once again for being here when it just continues to get worse with the team, but we're building community around it anyhow.
And hey, you know what? Speaking of community, we don't know what's going to happen once we get inside the Bends next week, but it is going to be a great weekend for community, and it is really, look, Unified match is going to be next weekend.
Come for that.
You need to show up and show out. If you're coming for no other reason, come to support athletes that are going to get out there and play with a ton of heart and a ton of
if you want to see people play for it, come watch the Unified team. Come watch.
And I'm really looking forward to getting them to cheer them on and do some fun stuff to support that side. And of course, we love it when our friends from the backline come and visit.
Yes.
And we love it even more when we get to do a bottomless mimosa brunch tailgate.
Yes.
So, there aren't really, we don't get a whole lot of like nooner games. So, enjoy your breakfast burritos and your chicken biscuits and your bottomless mimosas while you can, folks. Yep. We don't get it every day. And I think that's maybe,
have fun, man. Don't let this
come out and have fun.
Don't let this steal your joy. I refuse. I refuse, man. I'm rebelling against it. I'm going to come out. I'm going to have a good time with you and everybody else. Anyhow, I'm going to enjoy the Unified match. I'm going to support the kids. You were working on a beautiful.
Dude, I was working on nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't
know. Nothing today. Weren't working on anything. Never mind.
Yeah, we weren't working on anything.
Nothing at all. Come out anyhow. You might see nothing at all, and it'll be great. But it is going to be a cool experience, and maybe we'll get up with mixtape as well, and let those guys gloat for a minute. Deservedly so. Look, if we get smashed, we get smashed. Whatever. But maybe get smashed before the match, and it'll make the smashing more tolerable, But don't get so smashed that you don't enjoy the Unified, because they are playing afterwards. 2:30 kick
immediately after. Yeah, kick? I think it's 2 20-minute halves, and they will play immediately after the first team match is over. So there's usually about a 15-20 minute kind of transition because the Unified pitch is a little bit smaller.
And everybody on the end goals, you can come around.
Will go down to the Delta Club behind the players. Right. The players, but look, we do have some stuff that's in the works from a collaborative standpoint with our friends at the backline for chants and things like that. So come out, be a part of that.
Please.
Everybody's welcome, and it's always a good time. And we love the fact that in terms of supporting this type of program, making sure that experience for them is as equitable as it possibly can be from the support standpoint. If you need a reason to blow, to get out there, there you go.
Yep.
And I don't think that they're going to be the ones I don't think you'll be disappointed with the quality of play.
No, absolutely not. Just like you won't be disappointed in the quality of play for Decatur FC when that match, when their season kicks off in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much again to everybody for listening and watching that one and for supporting Decatur FC. Thank you to Gareth and Joel for giving us the time earlier this week to talk about the club and what's going on. And we're going to be back with them for part 2 in a couple of weeks, also with Coach Chapman and a couple of players to come on. And we're going to have some kids ask them some questions, more positive stuff. There is still plenty of positive stuff to talk about, despite this club trying to make it otherwise. So we'll be back for that. And we will be back for another one of these next week. I don't care. I'm not leaving. We're not going away. We're going to keep doing this thing until it turns around, which it will at some point. I don't know when. I don't know if it's this season, next season, the season after it, but this can't last forever, right? Okay.
I tend to agree. It can't last forever.
Yeah, not forever.
No, I think that it's a little bit.
Yeah.
It sucks because like I said, we had our time in the sun, and we had our time at the top.
Yep.
And now we're experiencing
oh boy
what a long lull in success is like, which is what it means to be an Atlanta sports fan.
We are going through it.
So, yeah.
All right. Well,
but we're always going to be
here. We're always going to be here, and we're always going to be super grateful for everybody.
That's right.
Communicating with us, interacting with us, saying hello, commenting, venting, whatever it is, man. As long as we just keep being here for each other as a community.
Hey, we'll be back. We'll be back in the lot on Saturday with the golden spike shot and some stickers.
There you go. You know, we can
come get a sticker.
Come on out, get a sticker. Take a golden spike shot. Get a little glitter in your life. Have some fun. Have some joy. Even if it's kind of manufactured, fake it till you make it a bit right now. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, life is hard. Like, just try and smile your way through it, and let's have some fun. All right, y'all. We appreciate it very, very much. We will be back in a week's time. Until then, y'all be good. We will be back.
When you walk through a storm,